Hi guys, welcome to another video on the Try to Be On channel. Today we take on a different type of video. It's more of a how-to, it's not the type of video I normally do. I'm not quite sure I'm qualified to call it this, but this is my take on how I repair paint chips on my frame. So this is probably why many people have a winter bike, and I do have one, although I haven't been using it. Don't ask me why, just haven't. But I have noticed that I've been getting some unsightly paintwork chips on the bike. So it's time that I do something about those. Now I know this is normal with bikes, but this Canyon, the colour it is, the paint it has, it seems to chip fairly easily, and I don't know if they're prone to that. And of course, it being red, it's a little bit more noticeable. Now my other bike was a white bike, my Cube, which is now in France. Yes, it had a few chips on it, but you really wouldn't notice them at all because of it obviously being a white frame. And it didn't seem to chip as easily, and I don't know if it's just this bike or what, or it's me, but I'm noticing them. So let me take you over to the bike and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so let me show you a few of these chips of what I mean. So there you go, there's one just on the fork. I've got a tiny one just there. There's some on the back end. Got one just here on the rear stay, and there's a few on the other side that I've actually tried to touch up, and there's two here that I don't know if you can see, but there's one just there and there's one just there which I've tried to touch up previously. The problem is always around the colour. You know, how do you match that colour? You can't tend to find the paint colour anywhere, so you're trying to do a best match, and that's what I've done previously. So I did buy a car paint colour. I don't know if you can see it here. Oh, the sun's in the way. So it's like a ruby red, which is fairly close to it. Although this has got a glossy finish. My bike is a matte finish, so there is that issue to it. Little chips are fine, although it's not perfect. So I also bought some spray paint, which is quite a close match as well. And this has actually got the matte finish, and this is probably the one that I'm going to go for. I'm going to do a bit of colour testing first of all, and I'll show you that just to see what the best one is to use. But initial thoughts, this one. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm matching up the colour roughly. Now the glossy red one looks the closest out of my eyes. The spray can is a little bit darker, but I don't know how much you'll notice of that when you put it on a chip. Decisions. So if I bring you for a close-up on this one here, you can see the white or the grey primer just underneath, and then I think we're approaching the carbon frame. So, and again, you feel it, it's rough, it's got a slight divot, and I want to try and do a little bit of a better job. Dealing with the sun now. But one thing I'm going to say, I'm not a skilled bike painter, sprayer, whatever it is that they are called, but I did consult a few YouTube videos as you always do, and I did realise that I think I could probably do a much better job than what I'd already been doing. So with a bit of preparation, preparing that chip, using a primer, which I'm going to use, and the spray, I think we can get a better outcome and a much better finish than what I've been originally doing. So these are my thoughts about how I'm going to approach this, and like I said, I'm not a professional bike sprayer, so I'm not expecting professional results, but certainly something better than what I've achieved in the past. First step is to tape up around the chip and cover any of the bike that you know I don't want paint on or primer on, etc. That's the first thing, is just preparing the area around it. The next thing I'm going to do is prepare the actual chip. So I'm going to use a nice fine grit, something like an 800 piece of sandpaper, just to level off the edges where they're a bit gnarly, and get that chip ready for the next stage, which will be to prime it. Now I'm going to use just a general car primer, and this is one that I've picked up It's also got filling properties, and the reason I wanted a filler one was I said to you about the divots in the chip, and that will help to fill them out and level them a little bit. So that will be the next stage, to apply that primer. I'm not sure how long it takes to dry, but as soon as that's dry, I will then again probably do a little bit of light sanding on that before the final stage, which will be then to apply the paint, whether that's the spray or the car touch-up pen. I'm still not quite sure. I think I'm going to go with the spray, but we'll see. So that's my plan of approach. We'll see how it goes. Right, so that's the first stage done, taped and sanded, and it does make the chip a little bit bigger, but if I feel it now, it does feel a lot smoother. I am still going to need to tape up even closer to the chip to try and protect as much as the original paintwork as I can, and then we'll get on with doing that and priming it. So I've now done a couple of coats of that, and to be honest with you, I think the car colour, the little bottle, is the better match really. The spray gives the better finish, but because they're so small, I don't think it's going to notice. I think I'm going to go with the car. The colour just looks that little bit closer to me. So guys, I've come in because I'm not actually happy with it. It's just, I'm just not happy with the colour of the paint. The car paint, although it's closest to it, is still a little bit too dark. The spray paint is just too brownish. It's on the tinge of brown, so I'm steering clear of that at all. But I've had an idea. The wife's got some nail varnish upstairs. Let's go and check that. See what she's got. Nail varnish, nail varnish, nail varnish. Yeah. Oh, I can already see some reds. Okay, what we got in here? There's a red. There's another red. How many reds can one woman have? That's about it. Oh no, there's another red. Oh, and there's another red. That looks a bit pinky. That one. Oh, but there's another one. Wow, quite a few reds she's got in there. There's another one, but that's a bit pinky. Right, why don't we try these? Yeah. Would I do it again? I think you can tell by my face. Certainly not. No, I think I just get the touch-up pen out and dab it on like I used to do. It's too much faff doing all of that. The primer does work to an extent in that it pulls out the divot or the depression that the chip leaves, which is quite nice. But to try and get that finish, you need to be able to spray it, and I just couldn't. But you know what? Bit of a foul, but if you don't try, you don't know. And I'm happy I tried, but I'm sticking to my old methods and just touching up with a bit of nail varnish or pen or whatever it is I've got that's close to it. So again, more or less finished, but Just sort of see them there. Not terrible, but not perfect either. And that is where we'll leave today's video, guys. I know it's something a bit different to what I usually put out. Not a total success. But I'll be back next week with the usual, back to training. Run a recovery week this week, and I've had a little niggle to deal with as well. So anyway, we'll get back to it next week. If you're new here, hit the subscription button because it is much appreciated. And I will see you very, very soon.